Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the WGLNA Gold League Season 1. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left, yeah, that's him, ladies and gentlemen, David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. And as always, go ahead and follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you.
If you haven't already, go ahead and check out battleviewer.com if you haven't, or if you're not already on there, I mean. You can check out match listings, standings, easily access the Twitter and YouTube, and it's the same Twitch chat you know and love, and as Christian loves to say, everything is better on battleviewer.com.
That's right. Man, he's getting it. I like this guy. Also, go ahead and check out fantasywgl.com while you guys have your browsers open. This is World of Tanks Fantasy League. What you guys can do is before the night starts, you go on, you pick your 7 players. As the night goes on, they accumulate points for you guys, and points can lead to tons of prizes, such as in-game premium time, in-game gold, and also the Hype 59 premium tank. You can't get it anywhere else but there. So go ahead and check it out. But while we're talking, actually, let me stop talking. Let's roll the clip. It's Badco's birthday! Hey! Happy birthday, Badco. Ladies and gentlemen, you all know and love him, the moderator in your chat right now. It is his birthday. So everyone go ahead and push B for birthday. Happy birthday, Badco. Speaking about fantasy, David, I heard he's actually #1 right now.
He has been for several days now, actually.
Whoa!
Overtook T1 Diabetic after T1 Diabetic overtook me. Just getting pushed further and further down. Consider it a birthday present, Badco.
Yeah, he was planning this the whole time. Man, happy birthday to you. But again, let's get back onto it. Again, B for birthday, guys. We're going to be doing this all night. Going through the lineups, talking about fantasy tonight, I picked Meadowhawk. You going to take that off?
Yeah.
I'm keeping mine on. Chose Meadowhawk from 07. I always do, Christian. I love you. We're going all the way to the top. And then also from eLevate, get Arclet, who is just continually showing up, putting amazing numbers down. And then Oxmathis from High Voltage. Hopefully he gets some sweet shots in tonight. How about you?
Today, all the matches are hard to predict. They could go short, they could go long.
Sure.
All the teams that are playing have a chance of beating their opponent. There are strong favorites in each match as well. It really depends on whether each team shows up to play or not. I mean, that's true all the time. But in this instance, I went with a very safe spread bet overall. Not trying to play favorites with anybody in this match because who knows where it's going to go.
Sure, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Also, if you missed Tuesday's matchups, let's take a look at what you guys missed. Up first, we had #RU beating Maple Freedom 5-4 in a tiebreaker, followed by Noble beating Rival 5-1. Third was Simp losing to High Voltage 2-5, and finally Lamp beating Game Over 5-2. David, let's go ahead and walk through these matches as always. Up first, #RU versus Maple Freedom. That game was kind of crazy because we were on Lakeville first. #RU was doing really good. Maple Freedom clawed their way back, and actually at the end it got so close, down to the final seconds. Walk me through some of those things that you saw there.
Well, overall, I think Maple Freedom played very well with a couple exceptions, and I think #RU didn't play very well with a few exceptions. That last moment, though, out of sight at the forward rock in the 4 line, there is a safer place behind it, and I'm sure many people were wondering, why isn't he going there? In that situation, it's an incredibly difficult call to make because going back to that rock, which is guaranteed safety from the angles he was being fired at, he could very well die. So, kind of twisting around, staying in the rock he was arguably a safer bet.
Okay.
It really depends.
Right.
And I personally probably would have tried to run back to the safer rock, but that could backfire just as easily.
Sure. And we're not going to go with the whole diving into the lake thing, right?
Nope.
All right.
We're going to stay away from that one for
Stay
a while.
away from that one continually. Next, we had Noble beating Rival 5-1. I mean, just looked like great domination coming out for Noble. Just a lot of good plays, a lot of strategy there. The only game I believe that Rival took on Noble was actually when the Django was being chased by Impact right at the end. Impact just couldn't catch him in time. But some of the highlights you saw from there.
Really what it comes down to is Noble showed up to play probably the best that I've seen them play overall. I don't think Rival played as well as they could have.
Okay.
And I think that boosted Noble's confidence, allowed them to maybe hit their stride. And if they can keep playing that way, then they'll perform at the level I think they should have been playing the entire time.
Great. We'll see if they can continue to do that. Third, we had Simp versus High Voltage. Now, this game, right at the beginning, it was 2-2. I thought that was going to be the theme of the night. I thought we were going to go into a tiebreaker and everything was going to be good. Then we go into Ghost Town. High Voltage picks up 2. And then the third, with that crazy no reset that happened, the cap timer just ended up. I've heard you learned something about that. You'd like to share it?
That was definitely the match of the night.
Yeah.
So the reason the reset couldn't take out is because Crimson Corsair's tank ran out of shells, which is apparently possibly something that High Voltage was expecting, counting the shells or something along those lines. It would certainly explain how they moved.
Crazy.
And that is debatably a critical error. We'd have to really study the match to see if all the shots taken were important or if the resets were a little bit too early. Typically, you want to let the points build up a good bit before you take your shots.
Okay.
In order to make sure that you can consistently reset and drain more time. However, Crimson may have been trying to go for kills, and if he was getting reasonable penetration, it's not a bad idea. He did have top damage, but just didn't really work out. The rest of the matches, on Ghost Town, High Voltage had him. Simp was trying something that has potential, but wasn't working in that instance, and I think maybe on a different team, because High Voltage can handle that. It's a focus fire, it's a play thing. On Mines, I honestly thought High Voltage could have easily 4-0'd them on that map.
Really?
And it was close. High Voltage some minor mistakes with that hill play, and I believe that is essentially the final meta of Mines.
It's gonna be hill.
Just all-out hill brawl. Everything else can work. It's kind of gimmicky, but if a team is very well-rounded, knows how to play Mines, and makes no mistakes, you cannot beat them without going to the hill and having that fight. It's a very good reason why my team focused entirely on that fight the entire time. But because of that, I know exactly how hard it is to get that fight completed against a team like Sim.
All right, well, we'll see if we continue to see Mines with that hill play. We'll come back up. And finally, Dave, we had Lamp versus Game Over. Lamp 5-2ing Game Over at the end. I believe it was a 2-2 also tie going in, and then Lamp won 3 in a row in Himmelsdorf, and looking like a considerably better team than what we've seen after the break they took.
Definitely. Whatever problems Lamp had, they're starting to sort out. I don't think they're all the way there. Game Over played a bit better than we've seen them play as well. However, a lot of those maps just did not exactly favor the kind of brawls they needed to play. And as we discussed on that day, Lamp's player talent is very high.
Yeah.
Even though their overall team cohesion just isn't there yet.
Right, a lot of good players.
That's hard for a team like Game Over with their ping issues to take over. They have to get very strong strategic wins because the tank-on-tank, the small corner brawls, probably won't go in their favor. So, overall, I think both teams improving, Lamp improving by quite a bit.
Absolutely. So it was fun to see. Hopefully they continue doing that as we continue on the season. Ladies and gentlemen, as we're in week 5, let's take a look at the standings going in now. Coming up at the close of this week, Refuse is on top with 17 points, followed by High Voltage and #RU in second and third. Down the bottom, Game Over at Lamp and Maple Freedom. Lamp finally having some points. It's good to see them no longer at 0. Like we were talking about, just obviously they just now have some team cohesion things to work out, but whatever changes they made, working out for them. Let's see if they can continue that. Speaking of what we have going up for you guys, let's talk about the matches of tonight. Up first, we're going to go ahead and have eLevate versus 07, followed by Synergy versus Maple Freedom. Third is going to be Refuse versus Rival, and fourth, #RU versus High Voltage. David, of the 4 matches tonight, which one are you most excited to see, and who do you think is going to take it?
Well, I'll talk about that a little bit more in just a second. There was one thing I wanted to point out in terms of standings, as we were just talking about.
Great.
A lot of the teams had a big disparity, some teams playing 5 games, other teams playing 7, which led to the standings being kind of hard to understand. Spent some time going through it. A lot of the teams that had only played 5 have now played 6, and a lot of that's going to equalize tonight.
Okay.
Top 2 are Refuse and High Voltage, and they should very likely keep it. However, if certain events happen, if #RU starts coming back, and they're able to beat High Voltage, they're able to beat Refuse, eLevate's already played them, and if eLevate is able to close all those games out, and #RU essentially helps them out, then eLevate can take first. If it works out perfectly for both of them, they can actually tie for first. Extremely unlikely, but the top 6 is still in relative flux. With one of the biggest games coming down the tube is going to be actually Simp versus Noble. It has one of the biggest matters on standings overall, but for those 2 teams.
Wow.
But to what you're actually talking about, I would say that #RU and High Voltage could be the match of the night.
Okay.
It could also just be a 5-0. It really depends on which #RU shows up. But I'm sure, like I just said, eLevate will be watching and rooting for #RU in this instance. Any team that eLevate has already played that one of the point leaders is playing, they're going to be rooting for the other team because
that makes sense. They
want to win too.
Well, I like what you're saying. How important is that #RU might even be able to tie if everything goes well for them. I'm excited to see that final match. If they win this, then they're looking really good for taking first place.
Yep.
All right. Well, that is going to be exciting indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for our pregame show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with match number 1 after this. corner, not quite finding Morphic, but Androxus has lined up the shot. He has ready to lead a shot going for Morphic. Androxus' shot bounces, but Brodus now is ready with the reload. Palacio is going to take down Morphic, and now the overmatch will ensue. Simp trying to find every member of Maple Freedom. Brodus dropping extremely low. He's on reload. He has nothing to do. Overload Prime gonna save Brodus by taking Bobby out before he can come over. Giggles gonna find Overload Prime. Mr. Man though dropping ridiculously low. Palacio looks like he's gonna find Giggles. Backs out and then actually lets it fly, not making any connection, taking some damage himself. And there's the push from 07 coming in the corner. Warbander being on the negative end receiving lane. As far as Camador, who's one more shot away, Jerk gonna find Warbander. Canadian back-to-back kills onto Camador. Fosta picking up back shoulder to try to respond, but only 3 members remain for 07. Okula gonna go ahead and find Fosta. Vitro finding a kill, but being dropped extremely low himself. Just 2 members remain. Noble looks like they're gonna pick up their 4th victory onto Himmelsdorf. They're 2 in a row. There it is, back-to-back kills and it out. 234 points of damage, getting dropped 1 more shot, and then AMX50, Spride pushing a little too far. Looks like he's gonna get punished for it. Dark God Sim gonna pick that one up, and now just 5 tanks remain on the side of Synergy Gaming. eLevate doing a beautiful job picking up these kill after kill. Finally, 2 tanks going across Pub Whisper and Takumi getting those kills, but Arclet taking another one down. eLevate continuing to press this victory more and more onto the side of Synergy Gaming. Unknown one more shot, he'll go down. Let's see who can pick it up. Looks like it is gonna be Zone Delta, and now Published in a different position. Let's see if the position helps him out a lot. Not a lot of damage going onto the side. Synergy Game coming around the game is right. Looks like they could be the focus. And no one coming to join the fight. A great pickup there early on for Synergy Gaming. They find Gaming's rig, something that did not happen last time, and Godzilla mode looks like he is the next. J-Smooth coming down. Executive is picking that one up. Synergy Gaming absolutely turning it on here, as Abrasive is going to be the next target. J-Smooth, a beautiful pickup from behind. Valera Desolator is going to be Mako's now being, looks like the target of focus. Sublime Data rushing through a crazy amount of tanks, just running all over the side. The center here by the church. Mako's dropping extremely low. 1 more shot, he will go down. E63 doing it, but gonna get down, taken is Rude Awakening. Synergy gonna pick that one up, and now he is the focus himself. Beverly coming around from behind. A couple more shots into Warbander in those IS3. Sublime Banana picking up now 2 tanks going down from the side of Refuse. Just 1 on the red team. E63 continuing to increase that victory. Vetro doing his best to try to take down Refuse, but Refuse looks like they are absolutely in the drive. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the WGLNA Gold League Season 1. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left is David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. As always, go over and watch this on battleviewer.com if you're not already there already. And as always, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you.
And also check out the question of the day, which is, which side do you think is stronger on Himmelsdorf?
All right, so for me, I'm going to go ahead and say it defense. I've liked some of the spots you can get from the Northern Cap. It's been fun to see teams have some amazing it's strategies and flanks that they can happen when they get pushed on. So I'm going to say defense. I think it's defense.
I'm going to have to agree with you. Right now, it's statistically even 50-50 exactly,
really,
based on the teams that have played it. But if we remember, thinking back, it was offensively favored in the beginning. Most teams that played offense were able to win it on offense. So now that it's actually closer to equal, I'm thinking, and what I'm seeing as well, is the teams are finally learning how to shut down the offensive moves, and defense is slowly but surely tilting back to be the favorite side of the map.
Awesome. We'll see if that continues to evolve as the season goes on. But for right now, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first matchup of the night, eLevate versus 07 from eLevate. We've got Zoid from 07 instead of Foster Kid. It is going to be Meadowhawk. Gentlemen, welcome to the face-off.
How's it going?
Good evening, guys.
Good. Thank you guys both for being here. Zoid, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. Just a general question that I had for some of the teams last night. Who would you guys say is your morale, the center morale for your team? Who's the guys you kind of center around and rally together at?
Oh, I don't know that we necessarily have a center of morale on our team. We're all about teamwork and synergy, and if there's just one guy that you try and center your morale around, if he has an off night, if he can't be there, then that can kill your team. So we kind of put that on everybody. We say everybody's got to be able to control their own emotions. We've got to build each other up and push each other to be the best team that we can be.
Oh, makes sense.
Certainly ideal.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how well it works out in practicality, but maybe they've got it figured out.
Great.
So, following up on that, Zoid, how exactly does the calling on your team work? I know in the past it was G-Forcer doing a lot of the work, but with Arclet here and Static taking over as captain, what changes have we seen?
Well, we actually had zone calling last season. He did
Oh, really?
our primary calls. G-Forcer was the captain of the team. Arclet is doing a lot of the calls now, but something that we've really been focusing on this season is improving our communication. And again, trying to not have one person do all of the calls, but kind of do it community-wise. So Arclet is still our primary caller. Zone still does a lot of our calls as well, but we want more people stepping up and calling.
That's certainly a difficult and often frustrating changeover to make, but you've gotten through the hard times, and it looks like it's starting to work out for you.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
certainly think so.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck. Continue on that, Zoid. Gonna go over Meadowhawk and start talking to you again. It's not Fosta. This is Meadowhawk, ladies and gentlemen. Meadowhawk, ladies and gentlemen. Going up for you guys, what is the biggest thing you guys have learned so far this season as a team?
As a team, it's just that we're still really gelling. We had a fairly good start, but we've really run into the middle of our season is the heaviest for competition, and the last couple of weeks has let us know that we still have a lot of work to do. So I mean, we are new. We've had so many changes in the past couple of years, the past couple of seasons, I guess. But it's one thing that we need to work. We need to keep working, keep screaming, keep our nose to the grindstone.
That's pretty much true for all teams in all situations. So, your turn. How exactly does your calling situation work? Who are the leaders? Who are perhaps the assistants?
Well, as you guys know, we lost Fat Crow when he went over to the Lamp. He was our main caller, and we had a side caller of external who we lost to his military service. So when Fat Crow left, Fosta took over. He's our main caller right now. And then side calling, we got Warbander back. He's a fairly good side caller. And then after that, it's all just kind of team input and broken down into fire teams. Fire teams will call their own stuff, and then Fosta will make his decisions from there.
All right.
That's how a lot of teams work with the fire team situation. Is essentially like battle buddies, as it's been talked about in the past. You have two guys who play together, and you kind of give one of them more the job of making sure he hits his shots and plays well, and the other one more the job of thinking. And then together they kind of Voltron to make a better unit. Not always the perfect system, but it's certainly a good way to start out.
Sure, and definitely better than nothing. Well, Meadowhawk, best of luck as that continues to go on. Zoid, go ahead and start with you. Any words for your opponents before we start the match?
Like always, good luck, have fun.
All right, Meadowhawk, response.
Well, me and you are battle buddies, Christian, because Christian's got to stick together. But unfortunately, you might have listened to Naga. I'm not playing tonight. Sorry about your points.
Hey, don't worry. Hey, it's fine. It's fine. We're still going to the top, man. We're still going to the top. Gentlemen, best of luck in the battle. We'll see you guys soon.
Good luck, eLevate.
Take care.
Oh, man.
Expanding on what I was saying a little bit there for just a second, the Battle Buddy system isn't necessarily not the best system. It just depends on the team and how well that works out. Some teams it can be everything you need the entire time. If those two work well together, then there's no real need to change. But a lot of teams, when they get to the higher level, find that they have to. Everybody has to kind of manage themselves, and everybody has to focus on playing all at the same time. It's a hard plateau to break.
Yes, I think it takes a lot of skill just focusing on that kind of team dynamic, and I can imagine that it just takes a lot of time. Speaking of the team dynamics, actually, let's take a look at the rosters here on both sides and see who the battle buddies are. What we've got going on here. David.
So I actually broke down some statistics for the teams in a kind of an initial run, so they're not fully comprehensive, but I can point out who are statistically, and from what I've observed, some of the more important players on each team. Hands down for eLevate, it's Arclet is the most important.
Really?
His stats are great, skewed a little bit by his artillery play, but he's also calling while he does it, and that's impressive. MR Lee is also significant, getting a lot of track damage and a lot of just damage in general, so he's obviously putting himself in the right positions. Meanwhile, for 07, it's actually a little bit more spread out, with Vitroxity still taking the overall lead from what I've seen. Take a little bit more study, again, to know if these things are 100% accurate, but statistically it leads to Vitroxity being one of the more important guys, doing a lot of tracking, a lot of just positional play.
Sure.
And Kamador and Makos also filling in different roles as well. One doing a little bit more spotting, one doing a little bit more damage. So as a three-man unit,
well, great.
They're all very important.
Well, let's see if the three amigos can show up tonight against eLevate, or if eLevate will crush 07. Ladies and gentlemen, we're into our first match of the night. eLevate versus 07 right on mines. Let's get into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
For 07, we have a T-32, a Pershing, 4 T-54 lightweights, and a T-37. For 07, we have IS-3, 4 T-54 lightweights, and 2 WC-131s. While all this is still getting into action, one other statistical trend I discovered, and it doesn't necessarily mean a lot, to be honest. Teams that bring more than one IS-3 on mines defense tend not to do so well unless they bring 4. And then it's about a 50-50 chance. But
so if you're going to bring them, bring 4.
Yes.
All right. Why do you think?
Or 1 or 4 is pretty much what the stats say.
Okay. Do you have any inclination of why that is the case?
I think it just has to do with kind of how they operate with those strategies. And I think that's really the bigger, most important thing. I don't think tank composition is everything, but it indicates certain kinds of strategies. And those strategies typically just don't work out as well with 2 or 3. You're kind of limited by the movement speed, but you also don't get the benefits of having all that extra armor in alpha.
Okay.
That's why 4 takes it up a notch, and 2 is just kind of, I don't know, not so great. That's all statistically. I think it really depends on what teams do with the tanks they bring.
Absolutely. Right off the bat now here, we've got a little bit of damage coming out on both sides, eLevate and 07, finding a little bit of members going back. Mako's taking a little bit of damage, as well as Rocks on the side of 07. Over on the side of eLevate is Zone Delta and Amar Lee. Now, looking like they being eLevate has now taken the hill for free. 07 has done nothing to stop that. Looking at the setup of 07 now, still having 2 members staying in the back. What do you think we're going to be seeing coming out from them in the next few minutes?
They appear to be camping on offense. Not entirely sure why. Perhaps they're expecting to catch Dark God Zim's move here. Perhaps they're expecting to do some damage on that hill plateau area where Zone Delta is. Perhaps they're looking for eLevate to make some sort of move and they can catch it. Right now, though, no real clear intent, which is a little bit questionable, as right now Mines is actually favored towards offense. Vostokid taking 2 shots in a row, getting spotted by the lighthouse, and superior positions from the hill make that pretty easy for him to shoot. So what I was saying is offense is statistically more likely to win on mines by a small amount.
Okay.
And in order to do that, you have to be a little bit more aggressive
Sure.
than 07 is being right now. Some sort of intelligence gathering phase, or perhaps a long con where they're trying to make eLevate think they play in a certain way, and then break out something different. I've seen that work a number of times. You camp a team for one game, and then you get really aggressive the next one. Perhaps camp them again or get aggressive. And it throws people off. But that was more of a 742 thing. And with attack defense, I don't know if that's necessarily a wise strategy anymore.
Another thing I was actually going to ask about about 07 doing what they're doing right now. We saw, was actually 07 doing this before, where they decided to sit back and wait and see if maybe they were trying to like get eLevate into their own heads. Let's have a little bit of fight here of Vetro running in the T-54 against Dark God Zim here. Taking a little bit of damage, running on the side. 240 going to the side of it, but Warband are going to focus Dark God down. And Vetro only take about half of his health in his tank there. A tank already falling for the side of eLevate. Dark God Zim in this T-37. Now, obviously T-37 not as high up on the points list, so maybe not a huge detriment to the side of eLevate. But looking at his positioning there, once he saw the 2 members camping in the back, do you think he should have just bailed out there when he could, or why do you think he stayed around for so long?
Dark God Zim?
Yeah.
He really couldn't go anywhere without taking shots. You can get to that village sort of by surprise and speed and maybe take 1 shot or 2 shots, but you can usually get there alive. Getting back out's a whole different beast.
Gotcha.
I think now we're starting to see a little bit of what 07 was planning all along, trying to catch any sort of flank that checked out that area. It is something that eLevate does quite a bit, and then initiating their own flank, wrapping around the outside. But to assume that eLevate is not prepared for this kind of thing, I think is a big mistake. G-Forcer is already spotted. Vetro coming around. Guaranteed Vetro's not alone. And eLevate is also guaranteed to have a prepared response ready for this. The question is, will they fumble it or not?
All right, well, let's see if that is the case. Makos also, before he went over, taking a lot of damage himself. Vetro in this T-54 getting a good amount of HP points going there. Swipple coming around. Looks like he's going to try to be the response here to make sure 07 can't really go anywhere, because now they are stuck. These 2 members, Vetro and Synergy, are kind of behind enemy lines with Swipple over on their left. Got guys on the hill. We've got Static and Amarly down there in the center. They really can't go anywhere safely. Now the question is, will 07 be able to come and bail them out by taking down some of the opposing members? They're positioning right now with Synergy Is it safe for them to just try to find that quick little overmatch on Swipple down there, or is there just too many turrets pointed their way?
They can go ahead and probably get Swipple because eLevate's about to dive on what they just got handed.
That's right. Looks like they're trying to find the match when they can. So doesn't come around the corner, finding Commodore. He's going to be the first one to go down. G-Force are picking that one up. Amar Lee getting dropped low from the other side. Swipple going to find Veteran in the corner, though. A nice pickup for eLevate, continuing this lead. Only 5 tanks remain for 07. Now 4, now 3. Back-to-back kills. Swipple and Static cleaning it up. Rocks running away with his life. Only one more shot. He'll go down. Fosta taking some damage back in base as well. And it looks like over on the side, Synergy is the only one who's semi-healthy. But Static picking up Fossa. Now just 2 tanks remain. 07 going down. eLevate looks like they're going to clean this one up with ease. That overmatch worked out beautifully for him there, David.
Absolutely. That's honestly just a critical mistake by 07. Enough intelligence had been made clear to eLevate. And on top of that, they pushed a unit into an area that is very easily isolated and not easily defended from. Basically giving eLevate everything they needed to take a very easy win.
Woo, and there you go. eLevate picking up the first victory of the night, making that 1-0 against 07. Again, something I've kind of talked about a little bit, but when you lose a tank early on, right, just as eLevate did, sometimes we see that completely mess a team up, and sometimes we see like eLevate doesn't really change a thing. And obviously it helps that it's a T-37. It's not a huge tank, but a great recovery there. And I love how once eLevate saw that they had the overmatch on the hill, they just took it. Something we've been seeing a lot from teams being aggressive instead of being passive and letting the enemy team do something that they shouldn't do.
That eLevate didn't really have to do anything special to recover from that. 07 made all the moves to give eLevate everything they needed to know how to get back in the fight and how to make sure they won. It's just a sort of a big mistake on 07's part. eLevate properly recognizing it. Something it's fairly easy to see as well.
Right, you said they were spotted. Right.
You've got at least 3 people in the east/southeast, and they had 2 to 3 stuck right there underneath the cliff, which isn't a very good place to fight from without backup. So it was very, very easy to count the tanks, get an overmatch, and jump on top of it.
Oh, they did that fantastically well. Obviously showing that dominance there on top of the hill, just pushing those tanks that they had over. Another question is, you were kind of talking about how what 07 was doing off the bat, it maybe wasn't the wisest because obviously eLevate should have had a strategy to compensate for that. Do you think that they had the confidence because they took that early tank down?
Hard to say. I think it looked like it was part of their strategy.
Okay.
But I honestly don't know how confident they were in doing what they did. They took a lot of damage while they were going through and honestly shouldn't have had a whole lot of confidence from that fight itself. From that match, in case you're wondering, not a whole lot to notice on statistics.
All right.
Have to actually recover it when we get back from this battle.
Let's see if this battle will give us something more to talk about as we're into the next one. eLevate versus 07. All of the sides have been the same. eLevate now up 1-0. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
For eLevate, again, we have a T-32, a Pershing, 4 T-54 lightweights, and a T-37. For 07 and IS-3, 4 T-54 lightweights, and 2 WZ-131s. Something we're seeing not only more in WGLNA, but also in other regions since Refuse started bringing it. I don't know if they were the first to get in on the meta, or if we were just the first
to notice it.
A lot of times things get developed on one server, and they'll show up on a different server first due to practice schedules.
Let's see if he'll fight. And Zondela coming out of the corner, but no one's actually focusing. They return to the right, taking damage. Swipple not taking a lot, in Synergy getting some in return. They had Zondela there for a moment. They didn't quite jump on top of that when they could. Synergy still taking a lot of damage, getting dropped down to below half. And his T-54 lightweight. And Zondela still pushing up, still trying to find the brawl. The top of the hill has been going on. All 7 members are here. They are all present. Let's see who comes out on top. Synergy. One more shot. He will go down. Arklet actually going to find Rocks before anything else. One side, 2 now tanks going down for the side of 07. eLevate picking that one up. Static going to be the one to seal that deal. Commodore now looks like he's in a little bit of trouble as Arklet just able to kind of push over, not taking a lot of damage in response. 481 points in that IS-3. A few more shots. He'll go down, trying to do all he can. Taking a good chunk on a swivel, but so Delta finding Commodore. It is now 3 tanks going down. Not a single one for eLevate has fallen. 07 still taking more damage, and eLevate should now just continue to push on and clear this one up. Looks like it's going to be another victory for eLevate here, a lot quicker than last time. Vetro and Warband are doing all they can, taking some shots onto Amar Lee. He's just going to go ahead and back out of there. not dying with his life. Dark God Zim actually coming around the side. Let's see if he's going to flank. He is focused on Makos. His turret wasn't expecting that. One more shot, and he will go down. Let's see who it's going to be. He's Gafasa taking a lot of damage himself. Dark God Zim doing a good job focusing. He goes down now. 3 tanks remaining for eLevate. All about 1 shot. Now 2. Now 1. Vetro picking up Arclit, but it's not going to be enough. All the rest of the tanks going around to swarm him, and he should go down shortly. Zone Delta. He's the man taking that one now. 2-0. eLevate against 07. Well, there's the hill meta we were talking about. There's just all the tanks pushing on top, and it really comes down to who can focus better. One thing I want to say is eLevate, I think it was Zone Delta, was pushing up, and he was by himself going to go and try to take the hill. And there was, I think, 4 members from 07. It looks like their turrets were turned not in his direction, the opposite way, pointing toward the lighthouse.
There were a lot of vectors to fight in that instance, and you'd have to sit down and really look at it to see where they should have been focusing.
Yeah.
What I was wondering is whether eLevate was performing that fight perfectly, or if there were better isolations, better focus fire they could have gotten.
Okay.
Again, I'd have to see it from their exact perspectives.
Sure.
Let's go to stats real quick.
Okay.
Check some stuff out. Zone Delta leading all of eLevate with 1860, 8 penetrations overall. MR Lee right behind him with 1815. Static with 1201. And the list starts dropping down. Arclit, 1154, and then it gets under 1,000, which statistically not super significant.
Okay.
Though I would like to point out that G-Forcer did quite a bit of pushing in that instance. Took a lot of the damage to allow the rest of his team to get in there.
Gotcha.
And that's just as important. Vetro for 07 leading his list with 1516. Warbander and Makos also following up. Fosta and Commodore behind him. And then 254s, Synergy and Rocks. Didn't really get into the fight clearly in that instance.
Right.
Overall, like I said, just well played from eLevate.
Absolutely. Coming out very strong there early on. Another thing, it did kind of look like, though, 07 was doing what you said. They played passively the first match, very passively, and then came out aggressively the second match. What does it take for that to happen? Like, what are you expecting to go better after your 07 when you do that? Are you expecting them to think, oh, they're going to be slow again, so they're not going to go as quick? You know what? The match is about to start. You can answer that one later if it's prevalent enough, ladies and gentlemen. We're into the 3rd battle of our first match of the night. We have now switched sides. eLevate up 2-0 against 07. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
For eLevate, we've got a 5100, 4 IS-3s, and 2 LTTBs. That's a kind of a standard offense for them that they ran before.
Oh, yeah, on Ruinberg.
Kind of just stopped doing. Well, they run it on defense on Ruinberg. eLevate runs the Tigers lately on offense. Anyways,
yes.
07 with an IS-3, 4 T-54 lightweights, and 2 WZ-131s. They really like that combo, it seems. The WZs are doing quite well in a lot of these fights. For every team that brings them, there's 2 different guns you can use on it. One has a little bit higher DPM, and one has better alpha to start the fight out. So it's kind of an adaptable tank. 07 taking the hill right off the bat, but getting punished for it.
Absolutely. Over 600 damage between them, both of the Vetro and Rocks, taking that from the 2 LTDBs, but G-Force are getting dropped down below half. The focus was on him. And David, looking at kind of what 07's just gotten, do you think that was enough punishment coming out for eLevate, or do you think they got the hill a little too easily? As G-Forcer taking another chunk of damage, he's got to be careful. One more shot, and he could go down. MR Lee and his AMX 100 and Static, though, pushing on top of the hill. Looks like they're going to try and find the aggression where they can. eLevate also sending members over to the side. Synergy's going to build a focus. 654 points of damage. Looks like he's been set on fire. And on top of the hill, MR Lee against Warbander. One more shot. MR Lee will go down. Can he pick it up? He doesn't. Zone Delta finding Synergy. Commodore trying to respond by taking G-Forcer, but 2 tanks have fallen to the side of 1 on eLevate. Zone Delta looks like he's going to be the next one to focus as Dark Gone Zib picking up Fosta. Another tank falling for 07. Commodore, though, finding Zone Delta, trying to claw their way back. 07 doing the best they can with what they've got. Swipple at full health, and that IS-3 up on top, doing a dance with Commodore around that rock. Arclit, he has to be careful. One more shot, he'll go down himself. Rocks taking some shots, but Commodore gonna find Arclit, but Dark God Zim finding Makos. And MR Lee with that 5100 still on top of the hill, just waiting patiently for the perfect opportunity to take that shot. Swipple going around finding Commodore. A good chunk of damage going in there. Dark God Zim fighting all the way across to Rocks. It is a 4-on-3. Let's see if eLevate can do it. No, Vetro coming back. They're trying to claw it now. A 2-on-3 with MR Lee extremely low. He's got to be careful. Vetro and Rocks, if they just turn their turrets and look up, they might catch him out. He's doing a good job proxy spotting there. We have sort of a breather. It looks like a Static is chasing Vetro around the corner. 2 T-54s against 2 IS-3s and an AMX 5100. David, who do you think this is going to?
Should be eLevate, but 07 still can certainly bring it out, but with a 1,300 hit point deficit. Not particularly likely, and that pretty much seals it right there.
That does not help. That was the nail in the coffin, it looks like, for eLevate. Vetro, the last one alive in his T-54, doing what he can to try to bounce back and forth between these rocks, but the imposing tanks, the IS-3s on his tail. Amarly looks like he's trying to cut this one off. Let's see if he can pop down and get the shot. Indeed, Vetro comes up, misses the shot, which would have been beautiful pickup. That is not what you're looking for. And Amarly repositioning, being a little bit more careful, knowing that he just barely skipped death there by an inch. It looks like base capture going on. Static and Swipple. And those IS-3s are going to go ahead and just make 07 come to them. They are on offense, so they can do this. Why chase when you can just attack? And like you said, David, not sure that there's much Vetro can do. If he can take out Amarly here, that would be maybe good for someone's fantasy points, or maybe not, depending on which side you are going through. On top of the hill, let's see who does. Amarly missing a shot as well. Now Vetro has a free shot, and Amarly on the reload. Vetro should get a free pickup here. There he goes. A 5100 going down to a T-54 lightweight. That was a very unfortunate miss there coming out for the side of eLevate, but Swipple just moving his way up. Vetro, I'm not sure. Oh, looks like Vetro was spotted. Not sure if Swipple was spotted. Vetro now going over to see if he can get a reset onto Static here. I got to give it to him. He is doing his best, trying to make sure that this game does not just go over so easily into the hands of eLevate. But Swipple, a full health IS-3, just crawling on top. David, if Vetro can take down Static right here as he takes a shot, it looks like his shot bounced, and one more shot and going up for Static. He should go down. Vetro on the move. He's trying to find a shot, going in for the side. Not sure if it's going to be enough. 260 will not be enough. Static should finish this one out. And now 3-0 coming for the side of eLevate against 07. And David, you did say that was slightly in the favor of offense. Mine's was in eLevate, showing that it is very much in their favor. Let's kind of walk through that for me, because the beginning.
Exploiting. Interesting, a number of statistical advantages. 4
Right.
IS-3s over 1.
Right.
And they're on the offensive side.
Right.
So further
It's
than
like we
that,
talked about this.
the LTTBs put up, let's go to stats, because there
Let's do
was
it.
a lot of damage done in that fight.
Right.
A lot of beef from both teams. Just got word that 07 took a timeout, which, as we've discussed many times, is important to do when you get down 3 battles.
That's true.
Anyways, Dark God Zim, LTTB Heaven, 13 shots, 12 hits, 10 pens. Very nice accuracy on an LTTB. Did get to sit and snipe a lot, thanks to the IS-3s.
That's true.
Zone Delta coming in next with 1389, 4 forward and 4, 5-5 and 5 for Static. Obviously a cleanup shot. Not giving him full damage on that one. Amarly in a 5100. Swipple. Arclit not doing so hot. Did a lot of the positional forcing to get themselves into position.
Okay.
On the other side, Vetro largely carrying 07 with 14 shots, 13 hits, 10 pens. Commodore right behind him. Makos right behind him.
Wow.
Fitting the stats in this instance. Not always that accurate, but in this battle, they certainly were. Everything rung true. What I noticed there was a great move by eLevate that almost went really, really bad.
Really?
So they had a huge isolation on the south side.
Okay.
And they took it, but they also pushed 2 guys up into a kind of a triangulated position on top of the hill.
Right.
One of them being a 5100. Doesn't have fantastic depression and has virtually no turret armor. So, Amarly took a ton of damage. And I think it probably would have been better to push something else up there and bring Amarly with the rest of the unit down south to get those 6 shots into an IS-3 and get it over
Finish
with
him
quickly.
off.
Take what you have and hold the rest away.
Huh.
So just, who cares? Don't let the hill come down and shoot you on the side or the rear when you pass over.
Okay.
And focus on everything other than that. And that would have been a much easier, much cleaner win. But as it was still a win.
Right. Well, another thing I want to point out too is I've seen a common theme between these, almost the teams that are higher up in the bracket, right, that have these very aggressive plays that, they don't just sit back. Like, for example, 07 takes a hill. Normally you see a lot of teams going, oh, they took the hill, let's back off. eLevate's like, no, let's just go. We're going to push. What is it that makes a team able to do that? Is that just a style? Is that just experience? I mean,
so in that instance, it was a couple of things. One, they had more hit points and they had heavier tanks, so they still have enough of an advantage to push.
Okay.
2, I don't think they were super concerned about 07 playing the way they would need to stop that from happening.
Huh.
So 07 could have gotten damage, run away, reset, and kept basically playing keep away and doing damage.
Okay.
That's what they needed to do. Unfortunately for them, they provided the overmatch there in the south. And it was very easy for eLevate to clean up. I think they probably pushed the 5100 up there, knowing they had gotten a certain amount of damage on the 54s, thinking they could clean them up very easily. That is possible if you push something up there like a 54 in front of the 5100, which they did, and that 54 is able to make the people adjust and let your 5100 up. It's kind of a complicated thing to describe. It's simple when you see it. but overall, it wasn't exactly a terrible idea. I just think that pushing over directly over mid and holding the north was probably a better idea in this specific instance.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are off the timeout. 07 coming back. Let's see if it was enough to make eLevate come off of that hot streak they're on, or if eLevate can go 4-0 on our first map. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
eLevate with an IS-3, a T-32, 4 T-54 lightweights, and a T-37. 07 with 2 IS-3s, 3 T-54 lightweights, and 2 WZ-131s. Can they defy the stats this time? We'll find out. Meanwhile, eLevate, in my mind, looking very predictable right now. Not necessarily in a bad way, because the strategy they're going for is very tough to stop, and is essentially daring 07 to stop them from doing it. T-32 is going to go into the spot we saw directly underneath the hill. The IS-3 will go into the spot that we see many people play for. Right about where MR Lee is moving to right now. He may stop at this rock just on the left side of the screen and use that to get into position where MR Lee was.
Okay.
07 very intelligently staying far back, although they are pushing up Commodore and Warbander, and that could be enough of an overmatch for 07 or for eLevate to take advantage of. Arclit moving up in position to make sure that they can screen for those 54s. At that point, the 54s can go up, or they can pretty much be anywhere on the map, and it's up to eLevate to make that decision. I doubt it's scripted so tightly that they have to go on hill.
Okay.
But if they can, they
should.
will.
All right, well, Arclit and that T-32 dodging 2 shots from those T-54s. Good dodges, too. Now he's kind of sitting there. Not sure if he's tracked or not. We're just waiting to take another shot into Commodore. Looks like he knew that he can get that shot when he needs G-Forcer. Now making it on top of the hill. And 07 not doing a good job, I should say, punishing eLevate. We're going up there. G-Force taking no damage whatsoever. Dark God Zim over on the island with the Lighthouse. Dropping down now. He's at 443 points of health in his T-37.
He just got lit, probably from
Now,
hell.
David, looking at kind of what Dark God is doing, sitting over there as Arclit taking some damage in that T-32. Getting dropped to just a little above half. Now Static and Swivel, David, they're moving around over to the eastern cap, the 1 cap. Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but do you think they're actually going for a cap, or maybe just going for?
No, so they're going for that eastern flank. They're going to pick up ZXFT and anybody else who's over there. They got G-Forcer on hill, which, if you have hill locked down and nobody else can come up, you don't need more than 154 lightweight up there.
Okay.
It can be useful if you have good shots, but what they're looking for is an angle to see what is in that backfield clearly. So they know where ZXFT is. Perhaps they know where Mako is as well. And now they're just gearing up with 3 54s to swoop down the east side, take out ZX, and push the rest of 07 into the west side. 07 really only has one option at that point if they want to win, which they obviously do.
Sure.
They have to shove the middle.
Oh, find the overmatch.
But they have to do it fast. If they spend any time trying to deal with these 54 lightweights, it's going to backfire on them, and they need to do it right now.
Let's see if they're going to respond as Swipple,
Yep.
Amerly, and Static moving on their way through. Swipple taking a good chunk of damage, getting dropped now below half. Amerly backing up, and Static chasing ZXFT out of there. He is running in the WZ-131. Let's see if he can take some damage on the way back. Mako's actually going to be the focus fire of Static with those shots. Swipple getting dropped low as well. Zone Delta on top of the hill, also very unhealthy. 07 now with the push. Let's see if this is where they need synergy. Actually finding Arclit. Arclit dropping the first tank of the match. ZXFT, though, going to be the focus on the side of eLevate. He's going down. Mako's also very unhealthy. 116 in his T-54. Let's see if he can go down. Static gonna find ZXFT. Amerly running up. Looks like he's gonna focus on the synergy, who goes down immediately. Zone Delta just staying safe. Rocking back and forth in his IS-3, up and down, trying to bait some shots from Fossa and Makos, who are going down with Static. Finds Commodore, Swivel finding Makos, and more tank shopping for 07, but Fossa and Vetro with back-to-back kills. Swivel, Zone Delta going down. It is now a 3-on-4, but Dark God Zim making it a 2-on-4 with Vetro extremely low. Warbander finding MRLE, but he should go down as 2 54s against the side 3. Should be quick work. Vetro gonna find Dark God Zim. There's actually a 2-on-2 now. These 2 T-54s, like we were talking about, should pick up Warbander here, leaving just Vetro. One more shot away. Let's see, Static, G-Forcer, gonna finish this one off, getting the shot. Let's see if he can take it. No, he actually makes it to the corner, which is gonna allow Warbander to get another shot off. Let's see if he can make it count. 383 points of damage, not too shabby. Going into T-54, Static, but he is on the hunt. He smells Vetro, and he wants that blood going around the corner, trying to find a nice little spot. Let's see who gets lit up first. Static was lit up. Vetro also lit up. Those light bulbs there, ladies and gentlemen, on the side mean that they know where each other is. Static getting shot, but he's gonna finish off Vetro. eLevate now making it a 4-0 on mines going in to our next match. That is not a place you want to be if you are 07.
Nope. we should, and we shall, go to statistics for a moment, and then I'll talk about exactly what happened there and how it may have actually gone to 07. That's a huge maybe.
Okay, okay.
So, Static doing a lot of the damage. As one of the flank T-54s, getting in a lot of shots late. So, getting to basically come in behind people and do a lot of shooting. And again, on a team like eLevate's, a lot less of the numbers you see are directly relatable to skill.
Okay.
A lot more of it is happenstance and the strategy
what they were
run,
doing,
and which tank you got to be at the time.
Right.
G-Forcer seems to be second in line here. He was the 54 on the top of the hill, getting to do a lot of side damage on everybody and dance around. Again, big part of why he gets that damage. Amar Lee and Swipple, not so much. During that flank, they came in a little hot, tried to make sure they got some cleanups. Cost him a lot. Arclight getting some damage, and Zone Delta getting some damage on the tanks coming in. Warbander, hands down, doing the most. Quite a bit, in fact. 2,600 for 07. Chemdor following up behind Vetro, and the rest of the people pretty much getting wrecked overall. So,
yeah, so explain where 07 could have actually taken it.
When eLevate's coming down the 8-9, and that's a very powerful play, and it's still very possible for eLevate to have won if 07 did what I'm about to say.
Okay.
07 needs to see it coming, and as soon as they see it coming with that T-37, ZXFT down the corner, that's when they need to shove mid with everything they got.
Okay.
No, just ZXFT's dead. He just needs to run.
Right.
And in fact, if he runs away and he gets shot from the middle, which is the only real concern he could have, right? Because
that's better, right?
He has guaranteed death coming after him.
Right.
So if he runs west, then those are perhaps shots out of tanks that'll be shooting your units coming up the middle.
Right.
That's advantageous. So you push over there, you take down the IS-3, you take down the T-32 immediately. One of their critical problems here, they bounced Zone Delta's IS-3 a lot.
Oh, did they?
He stayed alive for a very long time.
See that.
Missed shots, bounced shots, and that added up. So if they'd shoved over there, gotten those two heavies out very quickly, pushed on top of hill maybe, it's kind of hard to say if they'd be able to do that or not. Basically played keep away from the 354s that eLevate gave them and get the isolations they could, then they would have been in a significantly better situation to win. But again, if you play the way eLevate does and you play that strategy, and every team that practices that strategy knows exactly what the weaknesses are and what to do, then there is still a chance that eLevate would have made small positional changes, and it still would have gotten eLevate's favor. But certainly a better chance for 07. It looks like to me they're just not shooting as well, and their decisions are slightly slower than eLevate's. Difference between a good team and a great team.
All right, well, let's see. Now eLevate is up 4-0. They just need one more victory. We are going to Lakeville. Let's see if they can close this out, or if 07 can pull a miracle and claw their way back, winning 5 in a row. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
I talked too long as usual, so get this out really quickly. 2 IS-3s, a T-32, an RU-251, 2 T-54 lightweights, and AMX-12T for eLevate. For 07, 3 IS-3s, 3 T-54 lightweights, and FB-304. With ZXFT driving it, we can go ahead and call it burnt.
All right. Now, coming out for 07, maybe you don't have to get too deep into this if you don't want to, but the timeouts, right? We talked about you're down 3, you want to take a timeout, you want to cool your opponent off. When that doesn't even work, where do you go? What do you turn to?
You know, it's not really worth it to spend a whole lot of time manipulating any sort of head game aside through strategy, as in making it be frustrating for them, tiring them out by making the matches take a very long time.
Oh, okay.
Or being so aggressive that you start manipulating their fear levels. These are the things that matter much more than cooling somebody off with a timeout, although it can be important. And really, that's it. You have to get wins, and you have to try and get inside your opponent's head and make it uncomfortable for them to play in one way or another.
Sure.
Boredom, frustration, etc. But that's a lot less of an issue in current format, thankfully, because it's now cut down to 7 minutes, and and the roles are so defined. So a lot of those tactics
gone
that made it really rough to play sometime are so fortunately gone. And really, the biggest thing to me that I see now, scare them. Play in a way that just confuses them with the lineup you brought, or they're playing so hard, so fast, so aggressively, so controllingly that they're just afraid to move, and they're also afraid not to move, and then they essentially just kind of sit there, argue, and wait for you to come kill them.
Gotcha. Now, also another thing kind of pointing out here is, as far as talking strategy, or like you say, maybe the biggest way to get inside your opponent's head is just to do something and just scare them. How then, throughout the week, while these teams are practicing, how much time goes into developing new strategies throughout a season, or just refining the strategies that they already have?
Depends on the team. I mean, you look at High Voltage, they pretty much never ran the same strategy twice.
Right.
They have a high level of talent, and some teams work like that, where They don't need to rehearse it because they don't make the small mistakes as often.
Okay.
Or they're relying on the fact that things that are new causes an equal amount of small mistakes from other teams, so net positive gain for them. Other teams want to run a very concrete strategy flawlessly, and if they do it, it's virtually impossible to beat them. That's much more of an eLevate style, although they also do bring new stuff. So it's I don't want to pigeonhole them and just stick them in a corner and say this is all they do. They do both, but they show that trend a little bit more. I would say it's Noble, Simp are teams that really demonstrate the more refinement of a single strategy kind of thing.
Okay.
So even if you do predict and you expect what they're going to do,
They're so good at it.
the strategy itself is so airtight
Right.
and they are so rehearsed that you have to be very good to beat them anyways. But those teams are weak to teams like High Voltage or eLevate when they play aggressively. Actually, both sides are weak to each other. That's how you stop a High Voltage. Unless you just meet them and outplay them, you have to exploit the little mistakes that cause those little mistakes.
Sure.
A lot of time to talk about that kind of stuff right now, as 07 is stalling out on their zero line push. Arclet's T32 position turning out to be huge, shutting down the whole zero line, and rightfully so. If 07 tries to push, they're going to get annihilated by 254 shots, 2 IS-3 shots, and a T32 shot very quickly. A little bit of an opening there in the middle. However, Dark God Zims, 12T here spotting the lake, really make sure that that angle is shut down a little bit. Only way to find something like this is either to see it coming or do some exploratory testing to see where you're getting spotted and then isolate it and blind fire him out, which he did take one shot at least, so perhaps they did do that or saw him going there. I didn't exactly see or catch what shot him. 07 taking a completely different option, deciding, you know what, they're waiting for us here. Let's just give everything we've got and try and push out and take Arclet. Generally, possibly going to work, but in this instance, I wouldn't try it on eLevate, honestly.
Well, let's see if they do, because it looks like that's exactly their plan. Rox running in first, that T-54. Damage coming across. Foss and Rox be the one to try and shut down Arclet, as the rest of the team really try to do what they can, while their teammate is surely going down to 3 members of 07. Zone Delta picking up Rox, and before he does, Arclet doing a nice job dodging that artillery shot, getting another shot off. Let's see if he can. No, Fossa going to pick him up. Now a 1-for-1, going down 6 on 6. And eLevate continuing to press up. The question is, did 07 take too much there, trying to take Arclet, as Synergy gets dropped down to about half health in his IS-3. Commodore coming over the top, trying to see if he can do some damage blocking. Warbanner taking some more shots over there from MR Lee in his IS-3. And now over in the city, we have Dark God Zim finding ZXFT. A beautiful pickup there while 07 was distracted. He found an opening, took it, static. In the middle of that 4 road, doing some good shots coming across the lake. Foss now chasing Dark God Zim down. Commodore, a lot of damage, 775 points into his IS-3. One more shot, he'll go down. I'm also interested to see what's happening in the city as Foss is still chasing Dark God. Coming around the corner is Warbander and Vetro. Let's see what they can do. A Swivel just going to go ahead and rotate, finding Commodore. Now getting behind Synergy. Vetro and Fossa double kills, taking up Zone Delta and Dark God Zim. eLevate doing what they can here on this 3v2. Amarly going against Warbander. Swivel backing off. Vetro should be able to pick him up here. One more shot, he'll go down. There it is, but Synergy gonna go down in response. Amarly should be able to pick that one up. The question is, will Vetro? No! Vetro takes him down before he does. G-Forcer, though, gonna answer it. It is now a 2-on-2, and the HP is in favor of 07. Vetro, though, set on fire as he's running away. That is not something you want to happen. Fossa and his T-54 going around to try to take static in his RU-251. And David, that looked like it came out actually on the side of 07.
Almost. eLevate still has superior position in some ways. But yes, HP-wise, and actually just far better than I expected it to. 07 did come out on top. Static and G-Force are getting ready to take the isolation they got. They spotted Fosta up top, so they can both close on Vetro. This could be the last of it, but there's still only 40 seconds left on the clock.
Question is, yeah, can Fossa make it in time? Static getting the first shot into Vetro in this exchange. Vetro getting some back. G-Force to line the shot up. Let's see if he can take it and make it count, as Foss is actually taking the long way, wrapping all the way around, back and forth, 194 to 221. Obviously, Vetro winning this one. One more shot going through. It's not going to connect. If Vetro picks up static, this would be amazing for 07. Hoping they can take the first victory. There it is. Vetro taking him down. It is now G-Forcer versus Fossa and Vetro. Vetro is extremely low, but G-Forcer is half health against a full health T-54. 9 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, though. If eLevate can last this long, they will take it. It looks like G-Forcer is. There's no way Fossa or Vetro is going to get there in time. It is now down to eLevate successfully defending. Now 5-0, 07. A very amazing tight battle there. Looking at from the beginning, I mean, 07 trying to find that overmatch they did, picking up Arclit. It looks like it went well for them. They came out with the HP, but the time was just not on their side. Was that coming down to just them not going quick enough?
I mean, yeah.
Well,
I
guess,
if you look
yeah.
at it,
At the
all
bottom,
they needed
it
was
totally
more time.
was going quick enough.
So, I mean, yeah, that's exactly what happened there. But eLevate not playing as well as they should have in that instance.
Okay.
The entire situation with Static and GeForcer there at the end, with GeForcer running to hide, I see the logic they were going for, and it certainly worked. But
Sure.
for me, it's hard.
Just take the overmatch.
You're going to let somebody have a one-on-one when you've got a two-on-one guaranteed, and then all you have to do is run away with both of them east, wherever you didn't see the last 54 lightweight going to, I believe it was Fosta.
Yeah.
I don't know. Debatable. Let's go to stats really quick.
All right,
Head
let's do it.
to a break. MR Lee for eLevate, carrying the most with 1870. Rest of the team not doing so hot by comparison. Well, actually, Zone Delta put up a reasonable amount of numbers. Static almost winning a one-on-one, barely losing that. And I believe they were relatively equal hit points to start. Arclit taking the lumps in the position he had to be in. Vetro, though, doing 21-63 overall.
Wow.
The rest of the team, Synergy, Commodore, Fosta. Nobody else doing a whole lot there. Actually, ZXFT did 955 in the FE304. That's not a small number.
Not bad at all.
Definitely a lot of that was on the T32. So,
well, congratulations, though, to eLevate 5-0 against 07. Ladies and gentlemen,